The story begins where the scent of medicine and decoctions mix with the fragrance of pine in the palace courtyard, where silk curtains sway in an invisible breeze and footsteps glide noiselessly across stone floors. The inner palace, that place where secrets hide and rumors roll like snowballs, has a beating heart kept alive by one man, Jinshi. Jinshi is so beautiful that anyone who meets him either blushes or looks away. In everyone's eyes, he is a high-ranking eunuch, the one who turns the gears of the inner palace and gives orders. But his delicate face is what lingers on people's lips more than his commands. Later, we learn this role is only a mask for a much greater secret. Jinshi is not a eunuch at all. He pretends in order to hide his imperial identity and stay safe from the whirlwinds of palace politics. Far from the palace, in a district scented with cinnamon and lamp smoke, there is a simple girl with sleepy eyes and freckles scattered on her cheeks. Her name is Maomao, the daughter of an apothecary, sharp as a blade and endlessly curious. But fate, cruel and playful as always, kidnaps her one day and sells her as a servant into the inner palace, into that world where whispers are louder than orders. And as you might guess, the two lines of their lives soon meet. Maomao, in her plain servant's dress but with sharp eyes, dives quickly into the mysteries of the palace. The fragrance of incense, making children sick, the color of fruit peel hiding poison, the faintest trace of toxin on a tongue. Each riddle she solves leaves a trail, and those trails lead to Jinshi. For Jinshi, who rarely meets anyone not dazzled by his looks, this girl is different. Maomao not only does not swoon, but snaps at him dryly. "Step aside, let me do my work." This indifference hits Jinshi like a spell. Slowly, he begins handing her cases to solve, mysteries in exchange for rare herbs and medicines. Their relationship is, on the surface, professional, but beneath it, something warm and unseen begins to stir. The inner palace isn't just halls and curtains, it's a web of glances, smiles, rivalries, and lies written in the finest ink. Jinshi, with a face seemingly painted by all the city's artists working together, plays politics like a board game. He smiles softly, speaks little, and understands fast. But that's only the surface. The mask of a eunuch protects him. He even takes medicines to suppress his natural desires so that his role looks convincing. Why? Because behind the mask lies danger, his blood ties to the imperial family. Some say he's the emperor's brother, others whisper he's the emperor's own son. Either way, royal blood is a double-edged sword hanging over his neck. Meanwhile, Maomao solves case after case, the incense, the poisoned lipstick, the fake illnesses. Jinshi calls her each time with some gift, a rare leaf, a root that only grows on northern slopes, and she, with her sly grin, asks, "What's the next case?" This playful exchange between Jinshi's polished order and Maomao's blunt cleverness soon becomes known throughout the palace. If there's a mystery, call these two. One calms the stage, the other lights the lantern. But the palace story would be shallow if it was only about mysteries. Real danger soon creeps in. One night during an official event, a heavy iron load crashes down from the beams. Panic erupts. Maomao, a heartbeat ahead, sees what's about to happen. With her small, tired body, she leaps, dragging someone out from under the falling weight without realizing it's Jinshi himself she's saved. Her own leg is injured, but Jinshi survives. That day, something broke in his eyes, and something else took its place. The breaking of fear, the settling of tenderness. Rumors in the palace sway like reeds in the wind. One day they say Jinshi has fallen for this lady, another day that someone defied him. But the truth is quieter. The two lines of Jinshi and Maomao are drawing closer, though neither admits it. Maomao stubbornly denies any affection. Jinshi smiles and steps back, though not so far that he leaves the field empty. There are moments when breaths catch, hands brushing too close, half-finished confessions, glances pretending not to notice. Even when Jinshi wants to tell her his secret, Maomao stubbornly blocks him as if she'd rather keep everything as it is, safe and untouched. Life, however, keeps moving. After administrative shakeups, Maomao loses her palace job. For a girl with old debts, unemployment means returning to the rougher corners of town, under the wing of a certain madam with ties to lit-up halls. Jinshi watches from afar, helpless. He wants to keep her, but fears ruining everything. Finally, he does what a man of his hidden rank must. In silence, he arranges things so Maomao returns not to the dangerous inner palace, but to the outer palace, where she can work more freely. Outwardly, it's necessity. Inwardly, it's simply that Jinshi breathes easier when she's near. At the edges of these comings and goings, the truth of Jinshi's lineage comes clearer piece by piece, like a hidden map lit slowly by lantern light. Loyal attendants like Gaoshun and the ever-watchful Basen protect him. Behind their vigilance lies a painful family knot, women who lived with sorrow, mothers who could not mother, and names that, when joined, prove the point Jinshi's blood is imperial. That's why so many masks, why so much caution. Palace life is never calm. Rebellions, schemes, and feasts full of traps swirl endlessly. Jinshi, with all his soft charm, is a sharp politician. Sometimes he's kind, sometimes harsh, sometimes ruthless. From behind curtains, he shifts forces, gives orders, or chooses silence. And Maomao, still the apothecary's daughter, sees the bigger picture in every herb, every cough, every poisoned drop. Together they form a strange pairing. One detects the poison in the body, the other senses the poison in politics. As for Jinshi's greatest secret, not being a eunuch. In the palace, appearances rule everything. A true eunuch can't be a husband, can't be a father. Pretending to be one frees Jinshi from the web of political marriages and keeps prying eyes away from his royal ties. He even takes herbs to cool his body and make the role believable. This choice, painful as it is, has been his shield, though it also deepens his loneliness. And through all this, the relationship with Maomao reaches a sweet deadlock. Both know, neither says. Servants sometimes help by leaving them alone, sometimes by ensuring they don't end up alone. Their banter, their little exchanges, their gifts and grumbles are like small ripples, pushing the river forward without spilling over. Every time the final word might be spoken, fate interrupts. A duty, a new mystery, a sudden call. Because Jinshi, in those rare moments when he could just be a man in love, remembers he is more than that. If a crown might someday rest on his head, his choices shrink. Maomao understands this too. She doesn't want to see him caged by a throne. That bitter awareness builds an invisible wall between them, thin but firm. Both sit by that wall, working instead of confessing. Strip away the masks, and who is Jinshi? A man who learned from childhood that beauty is both blessing and curse. Beauty draws eyes, but those eyes can wound as much as they admire. He's endured years of people wanting to own his beauty, not walk beside him. Sometimes his jokes cross lines, sometimes in solitude he wonders, other than this face, what do I have? Yet when Maomao looks at him, it's as if someone whispers through the window, you are more than a face. You are your choices, your kindness, your strength to endure. She never says it aloud, but her presence shouts it. For Jinshi, Maomao is a mirror showing him without dust. She doesn't fear him, doesn't use him as a ladder. She obeys when needed, argues when needed, and that rare balance saves him from drowning in self-adoration. To him, she is not just a solver of mysteries, she is the one who keeps him human. And still, their love is never loudly declared. Instead, it's felt in near touches, half glances, ripples of warmth disguised as work. To an outsider, it might look like stubborn denial. To them, it's survival. If they let go of this careful dance, the politics of the court would devour them both. So the story of Jinshi in the Apothecary Diaries is the tale of masks and bloodlines, politics and silence, unspoken love and quiet partnership. It teaches that sometimes protecting the truth means covering it with a misleading mask, and sometimes keeping hearts safe means leaving certain words forever unsaid, not from fear, but from wisdom. And if someday you wander into that palace courtyard and the curtains sway in the breeze, perhaps you'll see Jinshi gliding silently down the hall, Gaoshun a step behind, and Maomao peeking from a corner with her notebook. One will ask, "What's today's case?" The other will answer, "Something smells funny, something to uncover." And you'll realize that as long as these two are side by side, one like a shield, the other like a scalpel, the world can endure poisons, lies, and